Glam Fam. So today we are doing my entry for the NYX Face Awards. I'm super excited because I love how this turned out and I hope you guys did too. This is a guardian of the pyramids, Egyptian demon creature, and it came out exactly like I envisioned it. So I'm very proud of it. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, BeautyByJosieK, down there below. It's the little red button and it's free and I post new videos every single week. I also have a Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They're also at BeautyByJosieK. Please don't mind how dirty my right hand is, but I talk to y'all mostly over there. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial.
Ew, that looks really creepy. Ew, it looks like a machine. Okay.
Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do is, if you have hair, get it out of your face because we're working with sticky stuff here. We're going to move on to the horns, and I'm just going to take some tinfoil. Using your fingers and your palms and sometimes a flat surface, you're going to mold this into the shape that you want for the creature. You can make so many things with tinfoil when it comes to SFX makeup. Seriously guys, the sky is the limit and it's so easy to work with because it's super light. And then a tip for you guys is, if you're wanting to paint something, take a little bit of liquid latex and glue it down to something flat so that after it dries, it's stuck on that surface and you can paint it easier. And then we're going to go in with some spirit gum onto where we want our cheek piece to sit, and then we're going to work some face wax into a long skinny piece and then place it onto our cheek and start to blend it out on the edges. And if it starts to get a little bit harder to work with once it gets super warm and your fingers get sticky, I like to apply a tiny bit of Vaseline just so my hands don't stick so much to the wax. And then using rubbing alcohol, I'm just going to go around the shape just to blend and blur out the edges and take off any excess wax that we have around that doesn't need to be there. And then we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side, trying to keep each piece very symmetrical. I go back and forth and it's easier to do this in a couple rounds. So the first round I will go in and make the base shape, and then I will take a smaller piece of wax, roll it in, and then put it underneath to kind of blend it into my skin so that it looks more seamless. Doing it in sections like this gives you a lot more control when it comes to how seamless and how the shape builds, and I find it's a lot easier than just going in with a big blob of wax and trying to shape it from there. And then once you're done with that, you're going to coat it with a thin layer of latex just so everything stays in place, and you're going to let that dry. And then once you are done with the latex over the cheek piece, I'm going to go in and start to draw out the hieroglyphics on my chest. This is just kind of like a outline so that when I go in with the silicone, it's a little bit easier to know what I'm trying to do. And I fully recommend that you go in with an outline before you commit to any big piece done with something other than paint. So now I'm going to be going in with silicone, and we're just going to trace out those hieroglyphics. By the way, if any of you guys are wondering, it does say my name on my chest in hieroglyphics, which I thought was really awesome because I've never done anything in hieroglyphics and it was a lot of fun. After you are done tracing out the hieroglyphics, you're going to scrape out the inside of each letter, if that makes sense, just so it looks like it's carved into the skin and scarred over. And since it's silicone, don't forget that you have to move fast. And then we're gonna go in with some body paint, and we're going to paint our chest, ears, and face gold. Make sure you get it really opaque. You can go back in with 2 or 3 layers if need be. And also don't forget to color the inside of the hieroglyphics as well, because we're going to shadow everything out and we don't want any skin popping through. Once that is done and it has dried, we're going to move on to the makeup portion of this video, and I just primed my eyes, and now I'm going in with a gold brown color into my eye sockets just to define the crease. And then once that is done, I'm going to go in with a darker black color, and we're going to pack this on to our lids and underneath our eye to give a shadow effect. And then once again, working little by little with products. You never want to pack anything on and then try and blend it out. You want to keep blending with a little amount of product so that you have more control on where it blends and where it doesn't. And here I am just going to start to contour my face. I did my nose a little bit, the hollows of my cheeks and around my temples, and then I'm going to pack on more black shadow along the perimeter of my eyes just to give it more depth. I feel like the contouring and the shadows on this creature is really what makes it pop, so don't forget this step. And then I'm going in with some black body paint and a really skinny detail brush, and we are going to start to draw vein-like lines from the shadows. Working in sections again with the shadow and then veins, shadow and then veins, and that way you can really see it all coming together and where you want more of which one in a certain area. The easiest way to draw on the veins is to apply as little of pressure as you can, and then just wiggle your brush as you go up, and as you start to get where you want the vein to end, let go of the pressure even more, and that will give you that tapered off effect. And then we're going to move on to the chest piece again, and what I did was I took some super watered down black body paint so that it wasn't super opaque, it was just kind of dirty looking, and I put that in between all of the hieroglyphics and started to shade around each individual hieroglyphic. Just remember that when you're shading an area that is supposed to look like it's risen above a surface area, is you want it to be darkest at one point and fade out from that edge. And then I decided that I wanted to go back in and create more thick veins so that it gave it a little bit more dimension. So all I did with this part is I just pressed down a little bit harder than I did with the super skinny ones so that they were a little bit more black and thicker. For my hair, all I did was tease the top of it like a lot and flipped it back and smoothed it out, and then slicked my sides back and pinned them so that it looked like I had a slicked back hairstyle. If there's something that will ruin an SFX look, it is when something doesn't match the color of whatever creature you're doing. So don't forget to paint any of the added prosthetics that you are using to match your skin tone. So here I just painted my ears and my horns. I just did the horns a little bit darker at the base so that it gave them a little bit of dimension, and then I put in my sclera lens to make my eyes black, and now I'm applying my mascara and falsies. And then for the fingers of this creature, I decided to make them long and pointy. So what I used is, again, some tin foil, and I just wrapped them around each finger individually. And then after I was done with that, I took it off and moved on to the next finger to get the 5 long fingers that you see in my intro. Once that is done, you can take your horns off and apply them to your head or body, wherever you want them to go, putting liquid latex on the bottom and then sticking it where you want it to hold. Again, since these are made out of tin foil, they are super light, so they should stay on wherever you put them, no problem. And then we're going to move on to our fingers again, and we are going to start to paint them the same color and the same style that we did the rest of our body. Also, don't forget to bring in the same kind of textures that you have put on the head and the chest piece into your hand piece so that it looks very uniform to everything else and it actually looks like your creature's hand. I used some charcoal teeth whitening powder for the blackness of my teeth, and then once that is done, you are done with this look. Alright guys, that is it for this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I'm super excited about the NYX Face Awards. And let's keep our fingers crossed that we get in this year. And I will see you in my next video.